Ask men for nothing. They'll give you everything. I know it makes no sense when you first hear it, but I promise you, if you stay with me, this statement will change the way you deal with men forever. For the longest time, you've been tricked into thinking that the women that get anything they want from men are prettier than you, more desirable than you, and even more deserving than you. But none of that is actually the reason why. The real reason some women get anything they want from men is because they understand the secret method that I'm about to share with you on today's show. But I must warn you, this method has multiple steps that all work together to make it work properly. But I promise you, if you follow every single step of this process, by the end of the show, you'll have men giving and doing for you without you having to ask them for anything. You're gonna hate me for saying this first point, but it is the most important point because nothing else will work if you don't get this right. Selecting the right man is the only way to be able to have a relationship dynamic in which you don't even have to ask and he is already doing. Here's where things get confusing though. Selecting the right man is not actually about going out and choosing a specific man. It's about allowing that man to select himself in your life. Let me explain. You as a woman are not a pursuer, you are not a chaser, you are a receiver. So all you do is worry about investing in yourself and putting yourself out there, because when you put yourself out there, the pursuers, the men, and the masculine energy, the men, are the ones that are going to come to you and say, I want and desire you. So I am pre-selecting myself by approaching you, by messaging you first, by DMing you, by letting you know I want to take you out on a date, by letting you know I want to go out with you, by letting you know I want to get to know you. All of those things are men pre-selecting themselves by saying, I have a desire for you and you specifically. Through my desire for you and you specifically, I'm prepared to do what it takes to show you that I'm the man that you're looking for. When you get a man in that mind state, that I'm prepared to be the man you're looking for, and I'm pre-selecting myself by letting you know I'm approaching you because I want you, that is the only way you will be able to get what you want from that man without having to ask, beg, and pull teeth. For this next point, I want to break down how choice is really going to be the key element to getting us to where we want to go here. Specifically, we're going to talk about the illusion of choice, because for men, they want to feel like when they give to you, when they do for you, they're doing because they have a desire to do for you. Not because you're twisting their arm, not because you're pulling teeth, not because you're begging them to do anything in particular. Especially when we're talking about a man feeling in his masculine energy, it is always best for him to feel like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm a man and I love to take care of my woman and I'm good at taking care of my woman. Especially if you make the mistake of bossing your man around and saying, oh, I want this done this way. I want you to do this and this for me. I want you to take me here. I want you to do. When you start doing that, what you're going to elicit is a response of him pushing back at you, because he's going to feel emasculated by the fact that he feels bossed around by you. So naturally, to not feel emasculated, he's going to say, well, no, I'm not just going to do whatever you tell me to do because I'm a man and capable of making my own decisions, which is exactly why in order for this to work properly, this method and strategy, we have to give men the illusion of choice, meaning he makes his own choice technically in the end, but your influence and the influence that you have on him through his own natural motivations and desires as well, we're going to explain and break down all of this, don't worry, is what pushes him in a particular direction that gets him to make the choice that you wanted him to make in the first place. But it allows him to feel like, I made the choice I wanted to make, and it makes me happy because I feel like a man making it. It makes my woman happy because I'm taking care of her, and I'm getting this positive feedback loop that allows me to feel like I want to continue doing this over and over and over again. By the way, I'm happy to share with you all of my videos will now be also available on Spotify for those of you that want to listen on the go. Click the second link in my description to find the Spotify version. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a comment on the latest video that you came from YouTube. And for those of you that have a personal relationship question for me, go ahead and click the first link in my description on YouTube or on Spotify, submit your question to me, and I'll respond with a voice message within 7 days. Next, I want to discuss motivations, because understanding what men's natural nature is such a key element to understanding how to elicit the type of response that works for you. This is why I said at the beginning, selecting the right man will be the most important part of this entire method. When you select a man that has already pre-selected himself, meaning that he has said, I have a desire for you and I want to be with you and I want to be your man and prove to you that I can be that man. What happens now is naturally he's going to prioritize your needs, your wants, and the things that make you happy. Why? Because happy wife, happy life. When a man wants you, he naturally has to prioritize the things that make you happy, because the happier you are, the happier he is. This is why I say we're working with their natural nature. Men exist in a place where when they cherish a woman, they cherish making that woman feel good. And they don't know how to feel good if their woman isn't feeling good. So we want to work with that existing nature that men possess. Please listen to this next portion of the show very closely. Rewind it if you have to. It ties the entire method together. Please pay attention. You are here. Your man is here. Instead of you asking your man for things and expecting him to come meet you where you are, what I want you to do is only ever focus on speaking on your desires, which will exist in the middle. Your desires will be the bridge between you and your man. Your desires will sit in the middle of both of you. And rather than him serving you by you asking for him and then him coming and giving to you, all you will do is speak towards your desires, and your desires will sit in the middle of the two of you. And because you have selected a man who wants you and has pre-selected himself in your life, and is prioritizing your happiness because of how much he wants you and desires you, he will now intrinsically be forced to, because of his natural nature as a masculine man to serve his woman, to capitulate, which just means to do your desires as you please, because those are the things that please you. He will meet you where your desires are, because those things that you desire are important to you and he desires you. Why are we doing the strategy this way? Why are we not just asking him or saying that we want those things? Because he will feel like a masculine man the most when he serves your desires that you speak towards. It's a bridge. It's not meant to be a direct communication of, I want you to do this. I need you to do this. You have to do this. It is meant to be, I am putting this out there. These are the things that make me happy. If I were to ever be around someone or with someone that has a desire to make me happy, then they know they must do these things. Now it allows him to feel like he has the illusion of choice to make the decision on whether or not he wants to make you happy. But coincidentally, he already knows exactly what you desire and will make you happy. So now that he has a decision to make and he naturally wants to make you happy because he wants you, it becomes very easy to just make the choice to give you whatever it is that he knows you desire. So then the key element of the show and this understanding of this method becomes understanding how to speak on your desires in the clearest, most concise, most obvious way that makes it clear to him that as a man, if I want to make my woman happy, I better do exactly this. Here's an example of speaking towards your desires and allowing your man to meet you where your desires are already existing. Instead of saying, I want and need you to get me red roses, I want you to speak on the fact that you love red roses and reiterate multiple times in multiple ways how red roses make you so happy, how they symbolize love to you. You're speaking towards the desires without making it directly related to him or what he must or mustn't do. Now let's move to our next point. Now that we understand desires and why this is going to be an important part of this method. As you're speaking on your desires, you frame your desires the right way that don't come across as, I need you to do A, B, and C. You have to do this or you have to do that. What you want to do even more specifically is you want to frame it in a way that is most enticing to a man's brain. Let me explain how you're going to do this. The way you make something really enticing to the man brain is by incorporating sex/attraction or incorporating status in the way that you frame your desire and how it will serve him. Let me explain in an example. So let's say you really want him to buy you a pair of jeans, but you don't want to ask for it. You want him to just gift you this pair of jeans. If I get those jeans, my ass is gonna look so good. I'm gonna be taking pictures every day, and you better be prepared to sit on that couch and watch me model those jeans, because I'm gonna feel so good in them and I'm gonna look so good in them and my confidence is gonna be through the roof. You're gonna have to watch me walk around in them whether you like it or not. See, the way you're saying it is making it seem like, oh yeah, you don't need to get me those jeans. But if I were to somehow get those jeans through magic and somehow they just ended up in a box in front of my door, What I would be forced to do is to show you how amazing my ass would look in those jeans. What do you think the man brain is thinking at that point when you have framed your desire that way? What's the link to the jeans? What size do you need? How many you need multiple colors multiple colors I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call customer service, see if they can get this expedited. I think we can get this expedited. Why will he respond that way? Because you've just framed your desire, even though it might be a small desire, in a way that clearly feels like it benefits him as well. Because at that point, I'm not even thinking about this thing that you're asking for as something I'm doing for you as a favor. I'm thinking of this thing that you're asking for or saying that you desire as something that serves me. So now it becomes about making myself happy as a man through giving to you. Do you see how powerful this is? Which leads me to my next point, which is you have to be creative with the ways that you show him these are my desires. Let's imagine your desire is red roses. I'm gonna give you a plethora of different ways that you can show him this is my desire, and they're each different, but they're each equally creative. Let's say you're watching a movie together and one of the characters gets roses in the movie. You can be like, oh my God, look at those roses. They're so beautiful. Oh, I'm gonna cry. This is such a cute scene. And he got her the roses and the chocolate, and it's such a surprise. I was not expecting that. Oh my God, this is so cute. If you go to a restaurant with him and you see a vase of red roses in the corner of the restaurant, you can let him know, oh my God, look at those red roses over there. Oh my God, they look so beautiful. And I love this ambiance, and the plantation and the roses just set the vibe so perfect. Oh, this is so romantic. You can even send him reels on TikToks of people receiving roses or having a big bouquet of roses. All of these ways are creative ways to emphasize this is the thing I desire. I know it feels to you like, why do I have to say this more than once? He should be able to hear it, and he should be able to remember it, and he should be able to give it to me. But I promise you, the more creative you get with emphasizing this, it'll saturate his brain. And then when he thinks about what you need and what you want, he'll never be able to forget all the different pockets of moments that he had with you where it was like, oh, trust me, I know my woman. If I know what type of flowers she wants, and I know them flowers is red roses. Every movie we watch, she talks about it. Every TikTok she sends me, roses are in it. Everywhere we go, she's pointing out roses. I know my woman, and red roses go together hand in hand. Now, I want to discuss in our next step a very important mistake that I see a lot of women making when they're trying to create this dynamic. You have to start small. You cannot go to a man and feel like, okay, I want to use this strategy that I just learned on him to get me a $10,000 Chanel bag. It's not going to work. And it's not going to work even if you're with a man who is generous, has a lot of money, and has money to spend on a Chanel bag. Because if you lead with, oh, my desire is for you just met me a couple of days ago, but I want you to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on me, most men are going to be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not prepared to do that. I'm not invested in you enough to do that. And we haven't built and warmed up our relationship enough to do that. And the reason for that is the same reason why, even if you were attracted to a man that you met out at a bar, even if you were like, hey, I'm so attracted to this guy that I'm actually willing to sleep with him. If he were to approach you and, let's say for the sake of example, come up to you and be like, hey, by the way, I think you're super sexy and I don't want to do any talking. Just let me know, are you down to smash or not? Which one are you down to? Because I don't have time to waste. What are you trying to do? If a guy were to approach you that way, even if you were attracted to him, even if you were already open to the idea of sleeping with him, simply by him coming up to you and not trying to build tension, not trying to build conversation, get to know you, build rapport with you, or jumping right to the most amount of investment, you're going to be like, actually, I'm okay. Actually, I'm good, because now I'm turned off at the fact that you haven't even bothered to build up our relationship, warm up the dynamic. Let me get comfortable with being close to you, being around you, and then slowly but surely, we can build up to the next and bigger steps. Same thing with this. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get him into the habit of capitulating to your desires. Get him into the habit of hearing you speak on your desires. Talk about your desires. show him what you desire, and allowing his brain to make the connections between, okay, if I want to make my woman happy because I desire my woman, what are the things that make her happy? And then using his mind to say, okay, then I need to do A, B, and C. This process does take a while, but once you establish the dynamic and he understands that this is what he needs to do because these are the things that you enjoy and he gets rewarded for that, we'll talk about rewards in a little bit, this process becomes easier to do over the course of time. And then as it becomes easier, you can now speak on even more and larger desires. Now let's talk in our next point about letting him see. What I want you to do is let him see you receiving some of the things that you are wanting to ask him for. I know this part will be very confusing to some of you because you'll be thinking, why am I going to be doing and living the lifestyle of the things that I'm asking him for? If I'm asking him for those things, but I'm already doing them, then I literally don't need to ask him for those things. But what you want to understand, and I know this is going to make no sense, but just hear me out. Men are bandwagoners, meaning they want to hop on the already existing bandwagon and treat you how you're already accustomed to being treated. So whether you're asking for specific treatment, whether you're asking for flowers, whether you're asking for a purse, whether you're asking to go to dinner, you want to make sure that you're letting him see that you already do these things on a regular basis. This is your lifestyle, because this will also help him understand, okay, so these are the things she enjoys doing. These are the things that make her happy, not just because I see her saying that those things make her happy and she wants those things, but I see her living that lifestyle. I see her posting stories about it. I see her going out and doing it. I see her receiving it maybe from other people. Let's say for the sake of example, it's roses, right? I see her buying roses for herself. When I go over to her place, I see roses in the vase. When I look at her story, sometimes she's posting receiving roses from her dad. I see her getting roses for her friends. All of these things work together to basically build a picture for him to understand, okay, if I'm thinking of what makes my woman happy, and I'm hearing what she says about what makes her happy, but I'm also seeing what makes her happy in the examples that she shows me of her own lifestyle, all of it helps to build a very vivid picture to make it undeniable to himself when he's thinking to himself, what can I do to make my woman happy? It'll be the first thing that pops up into his head because of how reinforced it's become. Here comes another really important step that I want you to pay very close attention to: the reward. You must reward your man with appreciation and acknowledgement for the fact that you enjoy what he did for you. Anytime he goes out of his way to do something that you never asked for, please listen. When your man gives to you or does for you, you have to make sure that you make him feel good about the process of giving to you. The way you make him feel good is not by getting on your knees. The way you make him feel good is by showing him appreciation for going out of his way for you. What does that look like? For example, on a random Tuesday, you come home from work and he's got you some red roses and they're sitting on the counter, and you go up to him and you say, "Oh my God, you are amazing. I can't believe how romantic you are. These roses are beautiful. They smell beautiful. Like, I feel like I'm gonna tear up and I'm gonna cry. Like, I just love you so much. And like, how did I end up with the best man ever? Oh, you're so good to me, baby. I love." Sell it. I want you to really sell it. You better win an Oscar for Best Actress. You're going to sell it. Why? Because the better you sell it, the more of a dopamine response it'll elicit inside of him. He'll feel like, oh, wow, look at her reaction to those red roses. She loves those roses. She loves me. She appreciates me. Remember, men are motivated and inspired and driven by sex, attraction, and status. It makes him feel like the man when you over-exaggerate and overemphasize how amazing it is, the thing that he did for you, especially because you never even had to ask him for it, and you praise him for that. Which leads me perfectly into my next point, which is gonna be about control. Always let him feel like he is the one in control. The more you allow your man to feel like he is the one in control, the more masculine he will feel. The easier it is for him to go out and say, oh, I'm gonna do for my woman without her having to ask, because I'm the man and I know what my woman needs, and nobody knows what my woman needs more than me. You have to understand, it's a state of being. To be in that place as a man where you say, I don't need my woman to ask me a million times. She don't even have to ask me one time. I take care of my woman. Nobody has to tell me how to take care of my woman. I do that better than anyone else. That's ego attached to that. I want you to understand that. That's confidence. That's bravado attached to that. So it's a state of being. He has to be in that place mentally to be able to be in that place mentally in terms of the actions that he's taking for you. You can't have a guy who's like, oh, my girlfriend always thinks that I do everything wrong and she thinks like I'm the worst and she thinks I'm very incapable of everything. That guy is never going to go out of his way to do things for you without asking. Because what's going to be playing in his mind every time is, oh, if I do something for her, maybe I'll do it and I'll do it wrong. Maybe when I do it, she won't like the way that I do it. And then again, I'll feel like a failure and I'll feel super small and she'll yell at me. And so I'd rather just not do anything. This next point is like a pro tip that I want to share with you. It's called building the narrative. Now, when you give your man his dog treat, his reward for doing things that you didn't ask for, I also want you to turn it up a notch because remember, we're always reinforcing the idea that as you give and you do, and you use that big man brain of yours to figure out how to make me happy, I'm going to continue to reward you over and over again. Another way that you can do this, when you're on the phone with your friends, or if you go out to a party together, I want you to strategically allow him to be around, eavesdrop on your conversation with someone else, but hear you praising him about the thing that he did for you without him asking. Let me give you an example. So you're in the living room, he's in the kitchen, you know that he can overhear you on the phone with your best friend, and you're like, girl, you wouldn't believe what this man done did for me. He got me some roses. I'm talking about a big bouquet. I'm talking about that bouquet you be seeing on Insta. The food, how good was it? This man done got us a 3-course meal at Nobu. Girl, I'm telling you, clock it. Girl, I'm telling you, girl, he the birthday. He the birthday for real. So what does that do for him when you're doing that and he's hearing you do that? Status. What do you think he's gonna wanna continue doing? He's gonna wanna continue surprising you in ways just like that because he knows that when he does that, you're going to start bragging about him to your friends. Now, listen very closely to this next point. This is extremely important. You will never show men your disappointment initially when they do something that you didn't ask for, but they were going out of their way for you. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say, for the sake of example, your man says, hey, I got a surprise for you in the car. You get in the car, and instead of it being red roses that you love, he got you purple tulips. And you see the purple tulips and you're like, oh, I don't really like purple tulips. I'm glad you got me flowers, but I would have much rather had red roses. This is the worst way to go about this. Because remember, we have to reinforce the idea that in order to make me happy, you do things for me without me having to ask. All you have to focus on is my desires. And when you do my desires, you will get rewarded with the way that I'll show you appreciation and love. But if you make the mistake of showing him disappointment, when he's going out of his way for you and he's doing things without you even having to ask. Even though you're thinking, well, he didn't do the exact thing that I actually asked for, so why would I show him appreciation? What he's going to actually receive from that is, oh, I went and tried to go out of my way to do something for my woman without her asking. But instead of me being filled with dopamine, I'm now filled with shame. Because she's disappointed in the thing that I tried to do for her. And because I did the wrong thing, I don't want to continue feeling this feeling of being a failure or being a person that doesn't know how to do things the right way. So rather than be a failure and fail the next time I want to go out of my way and do something without her asking, I'll just either wait for her to ask me directly, or I just won't do anything at all so that I don't have to risk disappointing her. Like, subscribe, and hype the video. We'll talk soon.